And my dad, he was like, your mom passing. He was like, your mom she's passing, she's dying. He actually said dying. Yeah, he was like, your mom's dying. I'm like, man, what? uh, wait. Wait. What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Malachi, aka Mally Mal, and today we got another video. I gotta restart that because that was embarrassing. What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Malachi, aka Mally Mal, and today we have another video for you. We have another video. It's a story time. Story time / testimony. This is basically my testimony. I feel like everybody has a testimony. Every single person on this earth has some type of testimony, and I have my testimony, and today I'm gonna tell it to y'all. So yeah, got a little apple in my tooth. So yeah, my testimony, man, it's definitely shaped my whole life. It was only in the span of really 4 to 5 years. A span of 4 to 5 years that just changed the entirety of my life. It all started in 2009 when one of my male figures, top 3 male figures in my life, role models, male figures. He was a great man of God. 2009. My grandfather passed from diabetes. And it was hard, man. Hard losing your granddad. Like, the only top 3 male figures I had was my dad, uncle, and my granddad at that time. And losing him was really detrimental. But I was young and really didn't understand death like that. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna meet him in heaven type thing. I didn't really experience the hurt until later, you know? Not hurt, but the sadness, like, oh man, my granddad ain't here to see that. My granddad ain't here to see this. Like my granddad wasn't there to witness me getting the Holy Ghost. Like, he was always pushing me, bro. Like, he had said, like, if you get the Holy Ghost, I'm gonna take you to a toy store. What's it called? Not Toy Story. Toys R Us. He said, if you get the Holy Ghost, he'll take me to Toys R Us. Toys R Us was my favorite place in the whole entire world back in the day. Man, like, that's where I got all my toys. So him taking me to Toys R Us? Man, oh man. Him not seeing that moment in my life made me sad, you know? Later in my life. But that was in 2009. And 2010 comes and my grandmother passes. She had a stroke, and a year later, she passed. Which was another woman figure in my life, you know? Only woman figures in my life was my aunties, my mama, and her, you know? Losing her was detrimental also. I miss my grandma, man. She used to bleach everything in the house to where our eyes was burning. But I really miss her, you know? It just sucks because you wanna build memories, a lot of memories, with the people you love, you know? Because I wish I had them in my life so I could build so many memories with them, but they're not here. But I'm gonna see them soon, you know? And that was 2010. So I lost both of my grandparents in the span of 2 years, which was hard. It was hard on the family. It sucked. It was hard on the family, and it sucked. Then 2011 comes. My father, he experiences severe burns all on his body. I'm gonna tell you a story about this. I think it was a Sunday morning, and my mom, she was like, we didn't go to church that day, which is crazy. I'm like, we never miss church. I'm like, bro, what we doing, bro? I think my dad had to go work, and he skipped. He didn't skip church, but he didn't go to church. And I'm like, bro, I ain't go to church, bro. Like, we always go to church. And my mom got a call. She get a call, and then blah 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 blah. I mean, she didn't. From what I remember, she didn't seem that like. I don't really remember like that. At the point, I'm still young. I'm like 10, 11, probably at that age. It's a call. She like, and she got the phone and was like, "Hey, your dad got burnt." To me, I'm still young. Like I said, I'm young, so I'm like, "Oh, he got a little burnt." I remember having a little burnt when I touched the stove. I got burnt a little bit. I wasn't. I think I was a little slow. Maybe at the age, I was a little slow. But he got burnt, man. He got burnt all over his body. Then we got to the hospital. Um, before we saw him, before we saw him, um, before we saw him, my mom, she was like, "Man, your dad look like Freddy Krueger." And every time, I didn't know who Freddy Krueger was at the time. I was still young. I wasn't exposed to that type of stuff. She was like, your dad look like Freddy Krueger. I'm like, oh snap. I didn't know who it was, but when I got older, I laughed back on that moment, bro. Like I laughed back on that moment, like, bro, like she said this nigga look like Freddy Krueger. He kind of did, but anyways, I love my dad. That's just a joke. But yeah, man, and then she showed me the picture. She showed me the picture and was like, "This is how your dad look." I was like, "Ooh, ooh." I was like, at least he ain't dead. That's why I thought. I'm like, he was in a coma though for a minute, and I kind of knew that. God gonna get us through. He gonna be good. I really at that age, you don't really have worries. You just think you just have this mentality of, hey, God gonna do it. Yeah, I really don't have to worry. That's why we need mentalities of young kids, because when we get older, we start worrying more. Um, Worrying and hoping that God comes through, like worrying and all that, and we shouldn't worry. But yeah, man, I was worrying. I wasn't worrying, so I'm like, oh, he gonna be good. He gonna be good. I'm like, he gonna be good, bro. So I'm gonna tell my dad's testimony. He was basically in a manhole where you cut um wires and stuff, and he cut one of the wires, and they exploded in his face, and it was crazy, man. The way he explained it was crazy. He said all he said was Jesus, 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 while climbing up the ladder, climbing up the ladder, saying Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I don't know how he got out the fire, you know. Man, like it just still amazes me how he got out of that. Like, even in the fire, if you say his name, he'll get you out. If you say his name, he'll bring you out of your situation. Anywhere. He was literally in the fire, and he said Jesus, and Jesus, 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 climbing out, climbing out, climbing out. Got to the top, and he said he saw his belly bubbling, like the skin was off and everything, just bubbling. Like he himself was bubbling, like he was like lava or something. He was bubbling. He said he saw that, then he passed out basically. But yeah, man, he's a living testimony, man. Now he's striving, doing everything he doing. He's a great man of God, great father. Yeah, so he's all right now. But that was another time in my life. And at that time, I'm still like, hey, I'm still a good place in my life. I'm really not even thinking about things. My dad's still alive. I'm good, you know. Um, 2012. I go July 4th. It's coming up soon anyways. July 4th. Um, I got the Holy Ghost, man. Holy Ghost. It was great. It was a great experience, man. It was 2012. This is when the world was saying, the world about to end. So I was low key. I got the Holy Ghost off fear, on some real stuff. My granddad, he was one of the people that did it off fear, and I love him for that. He was like, "Nigga, man, you going to hell." So I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get the Holy Ghost soon. And 2012 was when the world was quote unquote ending. So I'm like, man. But I got the Holy Ghost. My mom saw me get the Holy Ghost. Great time in my life. Fireworks in the air. But that's when the real test came. 2012, around September. I'm in school, In school, I'm chilling. I think I was actually not chilling. I was being bad that day. I don't know why I was being bad, but I was being bad. Um, I was being bad for some reason, bro. Um, I was being bad for some reason, bro. I don't know the reason, but I was being bad. They was talking about, hey, Malachi, you better stop being bad. I was like, I don't know what happened, bro, but I was just getting in trouble. I just remember my teacher saying, her name was Miss Ragabon. I just remember my teacher saying, I'm gonna call your parents. I don't know. I was being a little bad nigga. I remember Miss Ragabon telling me I was gonna get in trouble. They was gonna call my parents. Then the principal. This is when I knew I was about to get in trouble. The principal was like, "Are you gonna see me in my office later?" I'm like, oh no, nigga, I'm about to get a whooping. I'm like, nigga, I'm about to get a whooping, and they called me down to the office. All the kids saying, "Ooh," I'm like, oh man, nigga about to get his butt beat. Finna have red marks all on my butt because I'm acting stupid. Um, but yeah, I get to the office, man. I see my dad, and I go in there. I'm like, it's not my dad, gang. I was actually more afraid of my mom than my dad when it came to whoopings. My dad, he hit me with his hand. My mama, she'll use anything in the house. But yeah, man, I came in there. My dad, he took me. We get to the car, and I'm walking to the car like, oh shoot, I'm about to get whooped. Get in the car, and get in the car. And my dad, he was like, your mom passing. He was like, your mom she's passing, she's dying. He actually said dying. Yeah, he was like, your mom's dying. I'm like, man, what? Like, my face was like, it was just like all in one moment. I was like in disbelief. I'm like, what? I was confused. I'm like, and he started crying, bawling his eyes out. I'm like, oh Lord. And I started crying. Just snip. Get to the hospital, man. It was a lot of people there, and anybody that's is watching this video. Anybody that's watching this video and was there, I appreciate y'all for being there for me and my family. But yeah, it was a lot of people there. Really can't remember that day. The only thing I remember is we was all in the room, and they took the breathing support off and the life support. That's what it's called, life support off, and she passed. It was horrible, man. Like three deaths in the span of 5 years. Three like big deaths in the span of 5 years. Like it was hard. I can remember my dad crying on the side of my mom's bed. Me crying on my uncle's shoulders, just bawling out my tears. Um, it was that now that moment it was detrimental, and I look back on it. It's really after I got that Holy Ghost is when you start getting them tests and them trials, you know. But that moment was crazy. So yeah, we buried my mom. Blah 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 blah. Buried him next to my grandparents. And every day I think about it. I think about the person that I became. It's crazy because, like, I should be crazy. Like, I should be selling drugs. I should be crazy. I should be always angry. I should be out of my mind. The trauma that I went through. But God, you know? I know y'all always hear that, but God, but God. This is a but God moment, you know? But God. I could be somewhere else. I look at all my friends, all my old friends, you know, what they're going through, what they're doing, and stuff like that. I'm like, I could be just like them. I could be in jail right now. But God, I'm like, this life doesn't match up with this person. And God will do that in your life. He will make your life and the person not match, you know? And you be like, man, it don't seem like you went through that. It don't seem like you lost your mom, lost your grandparents, and your dad got severe burns. It just don't look like that. It's because of God, you know? It's nothing else. He kept me. He was my mom in times where I didn't have a mom. You know, your mom is a comforter. Well, he was my comforter in those times. Those times of me growing up, I'm at the age of 13 going through puberty. Like, he was my comforter. He was my protector. He was my healer. He was everything to me in that time. And it was needed, you know? I just thank God, man. I really shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be talking about this story right now, but God. It's a package. Be right back. Don't mind me. Anyways, yeah, man. Nothing but God. And he's really been showing out every single day of my life, you know. But I want this is not about me. This is really about my testimony and the people that I help with this testimony. Any situation, any trial, any tribulation, anything that you're going through, look to God, man. Look to God in the situation, because it might be hard. It might be times where you just want to give up. I was definitely in that time where I just wanted to give up. I'm like, skip this. My mama done passed. Everybody done passed. Everybody not feeling it. You know, I'm not feeling it. You might be in that time. You might be in that situation. You might be in that period of time in your life, but you can get through it. Not just you. You alone can't get through it. No. It's with the help of God. That's the only way. That's the only possible way that you're going to get through your tests and your trials and your tribulations. You might be in a bad relationship. You might be lost a loved one during this time of COVID-19. You might have, I don't know, any situation. It might be little, it might be huge. Any situation you're in, with the help of God, you can get through it. But yeah, y'all, I really appreciate y'all watching this video. If you came to the end, and watched the whole video, I appreciate it. Just make sure y'all like, y'all comment, y'all subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Love y'all. Peace. What's the the deal? It's Mally Mal. If y'all can subscribe, like this video, and check the next video out. Peace.